Hello and welcome. Welcome to Adventures in Visibility. Today we're going to have an adventure in personal branding with my new, I shouldn't say latest, but my new girl crush, Mia Voss.
Hey girl, right back at you. I think I'm just wondering if people are like, what is wrong with us two? Because we are having so much fun since our meetup last week too. And listen, be jealous because it's pretty awesome.
Yes, we had a great time. So just for those of you who don't know me, I'm Denise Wakeman. I'm your host and your guide to better visibility on the web. I'm going to quickly introduce Mia and tell you that we had an opportunity to meet in real life last week at Social Media Marketing World, and we had so much fun together. You just saw it. I mean, it's like I've got a total crush on her. We did 2 live hangouts together. Like, that was so cool. And so I'm really looking forward to sharing Mia with you today. I know Mia, you have a lot of fans who RSVP'd to watch this and who'll be watching it later too. But for those of you who don't know you yet, I'm just going to read your bio here so I don't get it wrong.
Okay.
Mia Voss is an entrepreneur juggling several great ventures that we're going to hear about that all have one thing in common: building a stronger community. And if you've seen any of Mia's hangouts, you know she's got a rabid community of fans. They are rabid about her.
That's my backpack.
Her backpack. That's right. I accidentally wrote it Brat Pack one time. I had to go in and edit that.
It's probably autocorrect.
Anyway, Mia's best known for her online hangout program, the Mia Connect Power Chat. And Mia's main focus is on providing great programming and connecting her audience to the people and businesses they need to know. Now, there's a lot more to Mia than just this short little bio, a lot more. And we're going to get to that in a moment. But first, I want to ask Mia a quick question because it's going to kind of set the stage a little bit. And even though I know the answer, I want everybody else to know the answer too. So Mia,
yes.
Introvert or extrovert?
You love it. You know the answer, and it's going to be a combination. I am an outgoing introvert, and when I finally figured that out, it made my life so much easier.
Isn't that true? When I realized that I was an introvert versus being shy and that kind of thing, boy, that just totally changed the game for me too, because it's like, okay, now I understand why these things are happening, or how these feelings I have, or why I behave in certain ways. So, the reason I ask that is because I do work with a lot of introverts and work with them around getting more visibility on the web, and sometimes there's a tendency of introverts to not really want to share a lot on the web, or they feel uncomfortable about being out there on the web. Like, for example, doing video like this, they might think, that's too personal, it's too uncomfortable. But the thing the topic we're talking about today is personal branding on Google+. And so I think it's important for other introverts and outgoing introverts to know some of the strategies and tactics that people like you and me and other experts that I talk to, how do we handle that? How do we incorporate that into our business, and how do we incorporate that into our social marketing and our visibility? Because without that visibility, it's really hard to have a business these days. I mean, there's just so much going on.
Right.
So that's why I wanted to get that out there. You're an outgoing introvert.
Yes.
Would you call that an ambivert?
Oh, I like that one.
Or is that different?
I don't know, but I like that one because outgoing introvert has a lot of syllables, so it's not really easy to throw in there. But ambivert sounds great, and again, that was so great to have that conversation with you. We had a couple hangouts before, and then we spoke about this last week, and just in our general conversation of that light bulb moment of you really can almost up your game on your self-care once you understand what your pain points or your pleasure points, or what gets you motivated, what drains you. It changes it changes you personally, it changes your online presence, as well as in how you do business. So I really encourage a lot of people to figure that out, or just kind of think about that, because I think I told you that I used to just think I was a very crappy extrovert. I suck at this. And then once I went, oh gosh, you're not. You just get drained by people. You have to go in, and I'll post the picture that I sent to you, that the introvert sweater.
That is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
It's just perfect, y'all. It's literally, I'd seen it. I'd looked up the word introvert after having a week of a lot of in real life and networking events and things like that, where I got I could tell I was getting drained. I felt like someone had dropped my puppet strings and was not at my, literally, it was not at my highest and best at all. I had to take myself home. But I found this picture of this like full Snuggie sweater and just was like, ooh, Denise, this is how we look. I think that's how we must have been after a very full week at Social Media Marketing World.
Absolutely, I did feel that way after Social Media Marketing World. As I said to you privately, I took a lot of naps after that. So, it's just
yes.
And I loved every minute of being there.
Yes.
Every single minute I loved. And, I told a couple people, it's like I took out my Extrovert jacket and put it on, because,
yes.
I didn't want to miss anything really. So, but I was exhausted when I got back. So
yeah. So hopefully we can encourage people with this conversation to know that it can be a balance. It doesn't have to be this all or nothing. That you have to be this. I post a video every 2 seconds, or out there. You can integrate and talk with people and communicate and get community. And I'll tell you, the more I've had that conversation about the introvert, extrovert, ambivert, that I've realized there are many more of us than you realize, and Google Plus has been a great combination of that. That's why, I don't know why, I just feel like I finally found a home for myself and my kooky.
Yeah, I agree. So, the topic that I wanted to talk with you about today is about personal branding on Google Plus specifically, because, well, that's where I met you. I didn't know you before I got started on Google Plus, and it was, in various hangouts that I witnessed your charming personality, effervescence, and just to point out for people who don't know you, your trademark is wearing a tiara, so I'm wearing a tiara today too, in honor of you being my guest today.
You look beautiful. You look beautiful without it, but I love it. And you'll have to go back and see the show when Denise was on my show last week, when we were sitting next to one another, and I had a real tiara on, and then we were trying to keep the tiara on you, and I had to...
You had to keep flipping it around, flipping it back and forth.
As an aside, can I just tell you, I don't know if you saw the comment that somebody said, is anybody else just flipping their head every time the tiara goes over to Mia's head? So I saw that after the fact. It really cracked me up.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but
yes.
So let's talk about, you are all over Google Plus. You host a lot of shows. I'd like to find out first, like, you have a lot of several businesses that I know of, or that I'm somewhat aware of. So can you tell us a little bit about your businesses and then how they relate to what you're doing on Google Plus?
Sure. And that's the toughest thing. We all talk about hyper niching, drilling down, finding the message. And so it has been a struggle for me in the last couple of years, and a welcome struggle, because I love that process when you're like, what do I mean? I always think about that scene from Forrest Gump. He's like, what's my purpose, Mama? You know what I mean? She's like, you just when you ask yourself that question, like, what am I here for? What am I serving? Like, what's my big why? And the downturn of the economy really changed my world up. I call myself an accidental entrepreneur, because I just think stuff up, or just stuff comes up. And one of my long-standing venture, I love to call it, is a building inspection business. And I started that in 2001, very accidentally. Realized that I had some architects I was working with, and I've had a very interesting trajectory of history. I started out as an insurance agent when I was 18. I loved that industry. Moved to New York, kept in that, and then kind of bounced around to a couple of things until architecture and design came my way. And I was working at an architecture firm as more like a high-level admin type of thing, and really got interested in drawings and the process of what goes on before you build a building. Super cool. I'm a complete construction nerd, by the way. I dig the way things are built and how they're built, too. So I had been working with this architect, and somebody came to me. One of them said, we know that you are very picky and you type fast. Would you like to help us with punch lists? I'm like, okay. sounds great. They'd take me onto a job site and they'd sit me down and they'd say, and this was in 2001, so you can imagine it really was, this kind of deal, right? It was long before all of our smart fun things.
Right, not the smartphone.
Yeah, it was a smart hand. So I ended up just building this business out of this odd little niche because nobody liked to do it. It's tedious, and I just would get into this Rain Man thing of like picking out what things needed to be fixed. So was from a functionality standpoint, not from code, not an architect, but just they would, after about a year or two of helping them, they were just sending me off to these job sites and saying, here's a set of drawings, here's our field report, go out there and pick that thing apart. And so I'd fly out I did a ton of work down in Sandestin, Florida, California, a lot of resorts. So you know how things were hopping back then in the early 2000s, and things were just booming. I was hand over fist busy for years, and but also had a business that I built that I was the sole producer of it, right? So if anything happened to me, that was it. So, when you're this, you kind of get this pride thing of like, I'm going to be the one-man band. I'm going to, do it all. And, so unfortunately it was very successful, but there really wasn't an exit strategy or a way to grow that business without me being always there to build that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then 2009 happened. Yeah. And I got the, slap, and everything shut down. There was no, I was working in an industry that was hospitality, high-end homes, vacation homes. Guess what stopped getting built, right?
Right.
So I'm sure there's some of you out there can relate to that as well. And because I was at the tail end, always at the end of construction, it hit me a little bit later, and it was a very rude awakening, Denise. For sure.
I can imagine, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know a lot of people had rude awakenings, and, so what did you do?
Reinvent. You had to get clever. You had to really check your ego at the door, first of all, because, that's when temp jobbing, I had to do temp jobs and things like that. And then I had this opportunity that someone brought to me. It was actually an architect that I worked with. Her sister was a blogger for this company called Crave out of Seattle, and they're a group for women entrepreneurs. And she said, I just went to this Crave party in Chicago, and it's all celebrating women entrepreneurs. Would you like to be the Crave representative in Denver? They want to come to Denver. And I literally at that point had been working with men for 10 years on job sites, and I was like, all right. So I mean, it was a complete flip of all estrogen, or all testosterone to all estrogen, but it was such a blessing. Because
that sounds very cool.
It was cool because I didn't realize how much I was missing out on these boots on the ground, bootstrapping entrepreneurs here in Denver that were just doing some cool stuff. So, I kind of built the network from scratch. We put a book out. This was our first book, Crave Denver. And it's shiny. Look at the shiny, sexy little number.
Yeah.
You do the, it's a 2-page spread for each of the businesses, and then they've got, they get to talk about not only what their business is, but what they believe in, which I love. I love too. I think that's such a great idea. Here's my little, back in the day, with my little hard hat, my pink Timberlands. But
I love it. Pink Timberlands. Okay.
Heck yeah, girl. Well, let me clarify. You also cannot wear. They always like, get a pink hard hat. I'm like, I don't know if there's a little tip on job sites. They have pink hard hats. It's for people who lost their hat because they want to shame you.
Ooh,
Nobody steals a pink hard hat.
Okay.
So I started the Crave thing and ended up meeting a bunch of women and got into social media as well, because that was really when these small businesses didn't know how to represent themselves online. So it kind of went into that. So it went from, being somebody that's looking at all the punch lists to then turning that intuitive eye to helping these businesses get their message out there online. So it was kind of odd, but it was related.
Well, it's kind of like a punch list for online business.
Exactly.
I mean, people need to have that as well in order to be successful. There are certain things that are important, like a visible presence.
Yep. And here's your list of things that you need to check, and see if you test this out. How does this look? So So yeah, that's when the Mia Connect got born 3 years ago last month, actually. So,
Congratulations.
and I came up with the tagline, connecting you to the people and businesses you need to know in Denver and beyond, but I had no idea how to monetize it. So I started the social media part, but then the show started, and I came up with the idea for the show last year and jumped into Google+. Woo!
Okay, so let's talk about Google+. How did you break into Google+, and how has that affected your brand, the Mia Connect? Has it? My sense is that it really probably accelerated your visibility quite a bit, but maybe I'm wrong. So why don't you tell me?
It more was, I think, what a lot of us have experienced, and I hopefully this is encouraging for a lot of people. It changed my world. Not to get, and the people that aren't on Google Plus that are here just think I'm a nutbag, because it really has. I chose to dive into it when it was somewhat uncomfortable. I used the analogy when I first got here. I had actually gotten into Google Plus the year before. I'd gotten the invite, and then was like, oh my God, something else I don't know how to do. Right?
Yeah, I think we all had that feeling, didn't we?
We did. Something else I don't know how to do, and there wasn't that much presence. So when I got back here in February, I told the story before. I'd had the offer to do a local radio show based on Crave, and it said, oh, you need to. It's only going to be about women, and I realized that's why I created the Mia Connects, because I am such a unisex gal. I don't want to have all men, and I don't want to have all women. That's not what community's about. So jumping on here, I was like, I'm going to do an interview show. I didn't want to do the radio show anymore, but I saw this woman, Shauna Coronado, did a Google Hangout and put it on YouTube. I was like, that's it. That's what I want to do. I want to sit in my jammies and have Bob Voss, and he's being shy. He loves you, but I think he's napping.
Okay, for those who don't know, who's Bob Voss?
My 3-legged cancer survivor cat. Not my husband.
I love that. I love that.
He is. He's a piece of work. He usually photobombs many a program. So,
okay.
But that's what's fun about Google Plus, is that talking about brand and so forth. You go through this thing of like, who am I and what am I going to present myself on Google Plus, and you can kind of make it up, right, Denise?
Absolutely, absolutely. So when you started doing the Hangouts for the Mia Connect, what happened for you? How did you connect with people to interview and that sort of thing? How did that work for you?
For all of us, you really do have to work at it. You have to get out there, and it's so foreign. It's so reverse of what Facebook and those other things are, where you've already gotten. You only engage with people that you know, and so it really was odd at first to do these posts that was public and not adding on, not. Like, it's just reverse. But once I got into it and just started realizing I'll click and I'll comment here. And then it was just this exponential thing. And I will have to attribute a lot of my learning and my relationships to Annabelle and Randy Hilarski out of Panama. They were very, very kind to kind of take me in and engage with me. And I'm so impressed with their style and how they interact with people. So it kind of got a couple people that sort of took me in. But as far as the shows and the invites, initially I started doing interviews. I did an interview with the mayor of my hometown that I went to high school and junior high school with, so that was fun. And the premise was to showcase people and just go, I think you're cool. Let's talk about you.
Mm-hmm.
I think you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's like, I want to show off all these cool people I know.
Because it's so fun. Like, think about, like, again, as being introverts, yes, we, outgoing introverts, but I know you're the same way. You get so excited about people. We get so excited about people. Like, look at this cool person I met. Look at this great thing this person's doing. And then sharing that message, because it could be something that somebody in the community can need.
Absolutely. And, I just get such a kick out of really championing the people that I know, because there's so many smart people, there's so many brilliant, savvy, and I can't possibly know everything, and there are so many people way smarter than me, so why not bring them to the audience that I've built?
You don't need to know all of it. You can just get really interested, and then just I'm going to do the showcase.
exactly.
And just go, look how cool this is. You need to know about it. And I from a spirit kind of perspective, that's really kind of my big why, is to live large, have fun. And if I'm doing that, that means I'm living in a way that's just promoting everybody that's around me. How fun is that?
That's a lot of fun. So tell me, how many shows are you currently hosting, producing right now? Hangout shows.
Just two, although it didn't look like it this week because I realized, and seriously, after this, the Introvert sweater is going on. Glass of wine and Introvert sweater, or bam! Bring it in. But the Mia Connect Power Chat, and then Christine and Mia is the show that I do with Christine DeGraff, which was kind of fun. That actually is the old format that I used to have, which was the showcasing of people. I originally started with that last year, and then came up with the, I may have shared this with you, the shower ideas. I always come up with stuff in the shower. I was like,
okay, tell us your shower idea.
That one was the Power Chat. I was sitting there, and I'd had a couple of my girlfriends here who are social media gurus, and we were just kind of griping about stupid stuff that people do in social media, and I just said, oh my God, that's what we need to do. Let's have a show where you just sit around and dish, because I love dish shows, starting with Mystery Science Theater 3000. Remember when those three guys would sit down at the bottom and talk about the show and
right.
all those kind of different things. And you know what I love is that Google effects are changing my light all the time. I feel like I'm in some kind of disco ball. If anybody's wondering why my light's changing, it ain't me. It could be Bob Voss. It's probably flicking the light over there.
Yeah, he's messing with you.
But yes, so it's just the two right now. But that was the idea. I was like, oh my gosh, I just think it'd be really fun to get 3 or 4 people in that open Chelsea Handler kind of style of dishing of what's going on, latest and greatest. And then I switched it over to the Mia Connect Power Chat in January, because I was niching myself down too far into social media. And guess what, Denise? There are people who are much smarter about it than I am. So I just thought, you know what, I'll open it up to, now it's just more like community game changers, business influencers, things like that. I have to shout out B.L. Oakman. Do you know who she is?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I've known her for a long time.
Yeah, her style of show is exactly what I had in mind for that show, but she crushes it, so I'm glad I quit doing that, because I love Girlfriend Show. She does it exactly how I would have if I had continued social media. I don't think I could have ever attained what she's doing, so I need to shout her out.
Okay, and I'll put a link to that to her show in the.
She's got a lot of info, a little bit of snark. You know how I love that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you go about? Is it conscious, or is it just evolve around your community building? I mean, that's a really huge thing for you, and it's very clear to me that you are a total champion of your community. Mm-hmm. Because when I was on Power Chat last week, mm-hmm. I just loved the way you were, bringing everybody into the show and giving them shout outs. And
they're so fun.
I got to do more of that, and here I am. Haven't even done it yet.
We'll get to you, right? Listen, when me and Denise are together, we're talking. Kind of is, though. And hi, Stefan. We have to shout out Stefan.
It's Stefan here.
I'm not sure if he is, but he lets me timeshare you, and I really appreciate that, because he was like, no, mine. I said, oh, no, share. He said, okay. I think that's actually probably how, I can't remember how I got to know you, but I think it was probably from Stefan, so shout out for him, too. So, it's interesting. I do have a literal community, the Mia Connect Power Chat, but I kind of don't integrate with communities as much as I do just using the event as a place where I almost feel like it's like this really fun social when the show opens up and I see everybody saying hi to one another. And then, making the comments and things like that. That just kind of happened. I don't know how it happened, but it happened naturally. I found that happened with Crave Denver here as well, because my biggest thing that I push for people was to say, please don't pigeonhole yourself, and just when you're introducing somebody and they hand you your card, you go, oh, nope, not for me. Because you just think 2 or 3 steps outside of your world that okay, I don't have kids. I've got Bob and the other and Lily and Maggie, my quadrupeds or my tripod. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to meet somebody who has a really cool baby store that I'm not going to go. I know people who have kids, and so I keep that in my mind. So I love having this toolkit of cool people, and so I've always wanted to kind of foster that around anybody around me of like, check out, start saying hi to one another. Don't you feel like that's what Google Plus is just all based on?
I think it's very much based on that. The level of generosity and sharing and pumping each other up is just, I haven't experienced that on any other platform.
It's super authentic too.
Absolutely.
Really, like people do. I mean, it was so fun to have Martin Shervington and Subi Zimmerman on from last week. We all met in San Diego last week, and to watch that still going on. And Sue's a huge deal in the Instagram world. Martin is Martin, but they just were so appreciating one another. And I don't know if you saw it. Sue was
I didn't. I was with a client, so I couldn't watch.
Because you know what, girlfriend's getting things done.
Hey.
Right? You're getting things done. But that she taught Martin, Instagram on the show. It was just really fun, and they were appreciating one another, and so it's I think it's pretty easy to do. But I also think we're all attracting very similar, people that we're aligned with as well.
What do you think is the secret sauce to your brand?
I think I finally found something where I could be my kooky self, and it's okay, because just real quick, when I first came into, I said this several times before, when I first came into Google Plus last year, it was very male oriented and pretty dry and information heavy, and which is great. And I thought, I was like, I have to be that way, and then I was like, girlfriend, you are not going to last long. If you can't get your nutty on and do your hashtag or whatever your crazy thing is that I do, it's not going to work. So it was scary and it was lonely, but I think it's that I've just realized like I can just kind of be myself and then attract the people to the show or to my circles or whatever that fit me well. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, well, I think that being you instead of trying to be like everybody else is.
I know it's so cliched, but it's really true, right? I mean,
it is true, and that's something I just had this conversation with a client right before this too. Is that it's okay to step out and say, "This is who I am," and you're going to attract the right people to you. So, and I think that probably, I mean, from what I witnessed anyway with you, is that when you get your kooky on and your hashtags.
Yeah.
That also allows maybe some of us who are a little more reserved to shed a little bit of that reserve too and get our kooky on.
I think, yay, thank you for bringing that. I think so too. I hope so, because I think it is kind of fun because it is so, again, information heavy and everybody feels like they can't show that. That's why I loved the idea of Crave too, because it showcased what the person was about and then what they believe in. So hopefully I'm able to marry those two together with the programming.
Would you say that Google Plus in particular has helped you or has encouraged you to bring all the kooky, into other areas too?
I think so. I think if anything, again, it's really just helped me to nail down exactly who I was. You know what I love too is that I can say I think there might have been a little bit of a shame factor for me of like, oh, what do? You're a building inspector and now you're doing modeling, because once in a while I call it old hen modeling.
Hardly.
Well, I have this. I'm on Wilhelmina, and it's called S Models, and it's sophisticated. I was like, "You mean biddy? Okay, like I'll be a biddy model."
So it is, right?
Exactly. So I have done that too, and it's just been really fun to say, okay, now I'm on a job site. I'm going to switch out my hard hat, my tiara for my hard hat, and these are my facets, and I really encourage everyone to be okay with that. I mean, be clear about it. And I know that's what you help people with as well. I've been so getting a hit off your smart bong with how you really help everybody clarify that and
love
nail
your
it
way
down.
With language.
I know some people are like, what?
The smart bong. I like
smart
that.
Bong. So anyway.
Now, because you have this construction business, you still have that, right?
I do. It went.
Business?
I do. It went dormant for a while, but it was funny. I can't remember who I was on a Hangout with. And had the phone on the little stand in my car, and Ben Fisher had pinged me, and I was driving around, and I said, I go, look, I said, he said, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm tower crane chasing. He's like, what does that mean? I'm like, this is what's so easy about this business, and Denver is so vibrant right now. It's so exciting to see my little town come back. I'm not a native of here. I've been here 18 years. Illinois born, arrived by way of New York City to Denver. I literally went, if you look, I went Illinois, New York City, back over to Denver, and that's where I'm staying. But our town's really come back. So what's kind of cool about this business is that I literally can find leads for it by just looking for tower cranes for new construction. So I can't really turn it down because I really enjoy it. But back to my point when I was saying I built a business where I was the sole producer, I now have, because of some mastermind programs that I've worked in, learned how to not be that sole person and give somebody else the opportunity. So I'm bringing in people who I do the punch list, they type it. Next up, she's going to do the punch list. And really what I'm going to do is show up in the beginning of it and do what I do best, which is say, okay, here's the standard of what we're going to look at, and then hand that off to somebody else who wants to be a part of helping me run this business.
Do you do anything around that business on Google Plus? Do you do any construction hangouts or anything like that?
I don't. You know what I do? I have posted moving GIFs of the sites, so that's kind of where I'm starting at right now. But can you and I work on that together of how I can integrate that? Because I don't want to be too confusing about it, but it really is a part of me that I truly enjoy. That I have literally jumped off. What I did one hangout where I had a dress over it, and then I had my jeans, and then I just changed my top and grabbed my hard hat and went out. So yeah, that would have been a fun little behind the scenes look. See, so I think with Sue B. Zimmerman, she talks so much about Instagram. I really do want to work on that because it's fun. It's eye candy. A lot of the stuff that I think I mentioned, I'm working on a bank building, it's a 100-year-old bank building. That's a beautiful historic renovation. So how cool is that? And they've integrated all the old banks, those crazy, 3 feet deep bank vaults and walls into conference rooms.
That's cool. See,
fun.
so I think that there's some potential there to bring the construction industry onto Google Plus, get them, inoculate them with your kooky and make the construction industry just a little bit more fun.
That is such a good idea. Thank you.
Might have a little connection there with you too.
I think so, and I know he just did the same thing. Let's shout him out for that too. You're right. He's integrated. He started a new community. So and he's actually one of the ones when I have posted things, he's like, you and I have something in common. So besides the obvious too. So good call. Takeaway.
Exactly. So there's so much going on here. I just feel like I've been ignoring the audience, and I don't want to do that. I am watching what you're doing.
Okay.
And
I have only one window open. It's you, so I have no idea what's going on.
Okay. Well,
not being my
I like that you're nice and focused. I'm going to look and see.
Surprise me.
I've got a question here.
Okay.
Oh, let me go back to it.
Cool.
So from Dina Eisenberg, I have a question for Mia. I understand G Plus is based on mutual interests. I'd like to be talking with folks who are interested in creating online courses or other learning products. How do I search? By demographics, midlife women, or by interest, product creation, etc. So
I'd say community. What do you think? I go search communities.
Yes,
just to get started, because that's shooting fish in a barrel, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would start with that. What's great? So start with communities and see what hangouts they have. I feel like this is such a secret sauce for a lot of people is, yes, go look at the communities and then see who's doing hangouts. Start commenting on those hangouts. That's where you're going to find your common folks.
Yeah, I agree. And one of the tricks about searching communities is that you have to click on community, on the left sidebar, click on community, and then there's a search bar within the community.
Right, not just the general. That's right. You're right. Yes.
Yeah. Because I know that I've had that conversation with some people in the past, and it's like, well, I can't find any communities. I was like, no, that can't be,
because you're nuts. Yeah, you can search people and then search that, or you can search, businesses and so forth. So yes, community. Exactly. But so definitely, I think the Hangout would help you out a lot, Dina.
Yeah, I think that's a great place to start. So I'm gonna bring in our mutual friend Sid. He says, "Follow your heart. Don't give up on us, Mia. You really help us out learning our way around."
Oh, thank you. Oh, can I just tell you guys? Sid, I was just thinking about you in the shower because that's where I do my thinking. I thought, how am I going to get Bob Voss? I'm going to put him in the carrier crate because I really want him to come up. Hopefully, let's see how we do. I want him to come up and paint with us. So
okay.
I'm going to do finger paint.
Maybe we need to explain that a little bit.
Yeah, I wanted to start arcane and then back into it. Sid Rest has a studio. I'm here in Colorado, so is Sid. And I love the explanation of why she's doing what she does. Talk about follow your heart. Sid was a sponsor, by the way, for the HOA Street Team that was part of helping myself and Christine DeGraff get to social media marketing world last week. But we did a quick interview and talking about how you know her, and then we did I don't think, did we do a hangout? No, we just did a chat. But I'm going to go up and do a real live painting session and do a hangout with Sid.
That's excellent.
Boss, just one paw.
And I heard that she invited Bob too. So
yes, that's
Bob
what I was thinking about. Well, that's right. Oh, he's something. That cat. He's trouble. Okay. And he likes hot ladies, so get ready for it, Sid.
All right, Sid. Careful. Here's one from Craig.
Hi, Brother Craig. Oh, I love that kid.
I listen to HOAs while helping out in communities. So there you go. So
I didn't think men could multitask, but Craig actually can.
There you go, Dina. You go join some communities. And
go circle Craig too. By the way, Craig did a great post about about websites and blog. He does great posts in general, and he knows how to cut the cheese. So I'm going to leave it at that. Okay. He did a great post about cutting the cheese.
Whoops, I just lost the.
I see.
Let's see, what else do we have here? Because there's so many people.
I got to go see. I'll come see you after, everybody.
Yes, okay. Because, every time I say this is going to be a half an hour, and guess what?
30 minutes in.
So, because I know your time is valuable, and we could just chit-chat along all day long, and I
bet we're going to hang out in the green room afterwards for a while too.
Yeah, exactly. What we'll do is we'll both scan the comments afterwards and answer any questions, because I know people have asked questions that I didn't get to. So I apologize because, I just wanted to keep Mia all to myself, I guess.
No, I love it. I feel good about that. I'll pull that up too. So that's fantastic.
I have a last question for you. Yes. Because this show is called Adventures in Visibility, and adventure is a really important part of my life and how I do business and how I have my personal life as well. What I would like to know from you is, what is the most memorable adventure that you've had?
I'm so glad you asked me beforehand, because I would have looked like a deer in the headlights if you hadn't asked me. Because think about that, everybody out there. What a great question to ask yourself too, because you kind of just go, just day to day, adventure to adventure, and you don't get to think about these highlights type of thing too. So good thing to ask that too. But mine, I realized, was the move from Illinois to New York City when I was 23, and I really took a chance on that one too. I had started as an insurance agent, like I said, at 18. Loved that industry. I know it sounds silly, but it's a very, commercial insurance is actually pretty interesting when you have interesting clients. But I've been doing that, and then I visited a friend. The architecture thing came back, and again, he was doing an architectural internship in New York, and said, come out to New York City and visit me. So I went out for a week, and that was in June of, I'm going to date myself, 1988. And within 4 weeks, had quit my job, my full-time job, sold my car, rented everything, packed everything up, found a friend of a friend, get this, who sent me, he was going on a trip to Italy, sent me his keys to let me stay in his apartment. So I literally got these keys in the mail, and and my friend was already gone from New York, so I only had one other friend of a friend, and moved to New York City. My parents just lost their minds at the time. Again, I was the baby. I was 23, and I remember saying to my dad, like, hey, Dad, what do you think? And he's like, well, do the math. What would you think if your baby came to you and said, I'm moving to one of the largest cities in New York without a job? And it was frightening, but it was one of the best things I ever did. It was very fun.
I bet you learned a heck of a lot and had a great time.
You know what I learned, too, is that, New York City was great, but where I grew up was really great, too. I grew up in a university town that actually had a lot of culture to it, so I had to move away to appreciate where I came from.
I totally get it, because I grew up in Southern California, and I never appreciated it until after I lived in another country for a while, mm-hmm. and I've traveled all over the world, and I keep coming back to LA because I love it.
Yeah, I hear you.
That'll sound weird to some people, but
No, I love that. I love that was your back crap crazy last week. I don't care what you say.
First thing that came to mind.
Yes, and I do want to. Can I just answer Bruce Jones's question real quick? Because this is always a good one. How are you making money with your Hangouts? I'm not saying that everybody can, but I think what's great about me, one, I have a sponsorship program that I am now at the point where I take applications because I want to be very particular about who I am. And branding and being behind. I love business affiliates too, so it's not necessarily through my Hangouts, but I think that there is, people can have a Hangout and sell product and so forth. But for me, it's for sponsorships right now, and then just the business opportunities that come out of it. That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I would agree with that around the business opportunities. That for me, I don't make money directly from the Hangouts, but it's a visibility play, and it's a way to connect with people, to build relationships with people, and the opportunities that fall out from that are, priceless. So
definitely,
I don't look at necessarily how I can make money directly, but indirectly.
I think that's a great way to think about it too. You can really free up your mind a lot too, and I'm going to get real cookie, like have an abundant mindset for sure. Can I say hi to a couple of people?
Yes, of course.
Good. Hi, Zara. Hi, Craig. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Brian. Roxanne Davenport. Sid, of course. Heather Crafter. She's crafty. Love her. Candace Marco. Man, people are fun, aren't they?
Yes, and you've got your fan club, your backpack.
Joey Giangola. Remember we met him last week too. He was with Tall Ryan. Yeah, honey, this is you too. Oh, Trina Paulus. Oh man, I love her. Y'all need to circle Trina too. She's in the audience as well. So good stuff, girlfriend.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me on today.
Thank you. You're so busy, and I really appreciate, one, that I've met you, two, that we got to hang out last week together. That was just so much fun. It was a highlight for me.
Thank you.
And three, thank you for coming on and sharing, your perspective and your viewpoint about, how to navigate some of these, the social media waters, especially on Google+, because it's an important thing. So
I think so
we
too.
need to know how to do it.
I think so. And again, it may not be helpful for everybody. I have my unique approach, but gosh, that means everybody can have theirs too, and just rock out with their sock out. That's my new thing I like to say. I'm sorry.
Why are you apologizing? Rock out with your sock out. Totally. And that's why people love you.
Thanks, honey. You too. Big heart. This is my girl crush heart for you.
Okay.
Thank you. And thanks for wearing the tiara. Let's say hi to Lynn Knowles real quick. Hey, girl.
Yeah, Lynn Knowlton, my lovely sister-in-law.
Yes. Oh, man, she's a hot little number, too.
Yeah, she is a hottie. Yeah. She was with me at Social Media Marketing World, so we were meeting and hanging out with everybody.
Getting my foot rubbed.
Well, she wasn't rubbing your foot.
No, that was Pam Adra. Let's give her a shout, too. So, anyway.
Okay. So, on the next Adventure in Visibility, I'm going to be hosting Martin Shervington. So, he's at the top of, so many people's list to be on a Hangout. And we're going to be talking about visibility on Google+. So, we're going to go deeper into some different aspects of it, because I saw him speak at Social Media Marketing World, and he talked about community in a totally different way than what we might think of as communities on Google+. The actual groups, like the equivalent of Facebook groups. So he talks about community in a different way that I think will be really fascinating for a lot of people. So in order to get updates about that when it gets scheduled and posted and the event gets put up, you can get updates and notices at adventuresinvisibility.com, or just circle me here on Google Plus and you'll hear about it, because I do a lot of promotion for my Hangouts, because I like to make sure that everybody comes in.
Can I shout you out on that? I felt fancy this week with Denise. She created beautiful graphics and images, posted it on Facebook, tweeted about it. So thank you so much for that. I just recommend anybody, just take a note. I was taking a page from you on that too. So thank you for that. And then Martin's going to be great. He was on my show today, and y'all are gonna have a good learn on. And sign up. Yes, I signed up for yours too, Denise. So I think I was strong arming people into go sign up, because it's good stuff.
Okay. Well, as Mia says, get your learn on, and we will see you around Google Plus and other places around the web. So Thank you again, Mia, for being my guest today.
Thank you, Denise. Everybody have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have an adventurous day.
Yes. Oh, I love that.